Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Contact Lost. And yet again, apologies that we're a couple of minutes late. As usual, it's my fault. Sorry about that. Now, before we go in, a massive thank you to our sponsors, Weyland-Yutani and the Army Painter, as well as our community of Patreons and YouTube members. Now, the topic for today, or we've actually got two topics for today. So we've got yet another Pyra Cup event, the last one of 2024. And we've
Exactly.
also got this WCW thing that was going on over the weekend, and we'll touch upon it as well. I mean, everyone's talking about it. We might as well talk about it also. But first up, we've got our home Pyra. Meison's got the logo of that event series in his background, and it's very bright and shows lots of colors. But Meison, why don't we start with like I want to say a summary, a recap of the entirety of Pyra events this year?
Okay. So actually, I'm quite happy with the thing that the Pyra events just really like grew up this year because in total we managed to schedule and have full participants in 4 events. We basically started in February with mini WTC where we invited top WTC teams and our common Pyro Cup members to attend. And this was the event that basically was focused on testing the prospects for the teams. We managed to get Team France, Team USA, Team England, Team Poland, of course, Scotland, Belgium, Netherlands are on board.
Hmm.
It was like already like strong assembly of teams. Uh, if I remember correctly, Team USA won that.
No,
But
they've
this was
smashed it.
yeah, especially us. Uh, this this was like the event where all of the teams brought the new prospects for this year. So it was the opportunity for everyone to test basically test the new members of team. Um, yeah. One thing about the formula of the tournament, because this tournament, well, at some point we decided to do this in an invitational format, and we are playing in the venue where majority of players are all also sleeping. Uh,
Hmm.
so we have in the ticket price we have included basically the entire weekend of food, some beers, and 40K gaming involved that in a single venue. So that's an opportunity also to make some social events in between the rounds and in the evenings. Uh, and also, majority of teams just stays over until Monday to have additional talk and chat around on Sunday after the tournament itself. So yeah, and this is like strictly meant to be like small sized events, like
Hmm.
8 teams maximum. And this was the first one in the series. And then we follow up with like, our like first invasion, so the Pyro Cup for like pre WTC training with the final teams assembled.
Hmm.
And classically, we have like Pyra founding members, so in Team Netherlands, Belgium, and Scotland on board there. Also Team France and Team Luxembourg and joint team of Ireland and Northern Ireland joined in July.
Hmm.
And this was also kind of a successful event because yeah, basically the teams brought their best players to test. Actually, the France who are the winners of this year's WTC, they brought basically the same squad and with the same roster,
Hmm.
like armies for the Pyra. They managed to win the Pyra Cup on July, and then adapt, refine some lists, and basically win WTC. So it was a great opportunity for them. We missed a chance as Poland because we missed a couple of players there who unfortunately couldn't join. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is like the event that was strictly um, for the WT strain. But then,
Training, yeah.
yeah, then I got an idea because like, it was fun. I got also an idea to start a couple of events in autumn period. Uh, I proposed right now I call it Pyra Cup Open, so 8v8 tournament in October, where yeah, I basically invited both national teams and some clubs on them. So basically, not Team Poland as Team Poland, but our teams, internal teams from TUV and Scafalos and Gamblers, three teams that are present in every Polish tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, two of them arrived there and played over the weekend with national teams of other countries and our like all stars team we assembled together with Typhus.
Mm-hmm.
And this was meant just to be a fun event because we haven't prepared like we aren't preparing for anything that time, and we also like I felt that this is a success. So we also brought new teams on board. Team Germany was present,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of guys from different teams in our All Stars team. So yeah, we had this like new teams included in that Pyra. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that was three international Pyra Cups, 8v8s. Uh, so the next one, the last one, the one that finished it this weekend was. I tried the same formula, so the invitational only and uh, like all inclusive event with
Mm-hmm.
Polish teams. Traditionally, it's like not possible for Polish communities to assemble 8-man teams. It's challenging for them. Maybe some communities would only like be able to do that, but not everyone. So we reduced the team size to 5, and also we like stick the formula of having everything in a single place. Um, this, of course, correlates with like slightly higher ticket prices and so on and so on. But we managed to get a full teams. At some point, I thought that I could potentially increase the number of teams and just make some of them sleep in the hotel nearby. But I think it would be it would be wrong and uh, not not so fun. To be honest.
Yeah, it wouldn't
So
be the
yeah,
same and wouldn't be fair, so to speak.
yeah. Basically, we had 10 teams. Here, the teams were also like this tournament was also invitational, so I invited the top teams that are like commonly present on the Polish scene, and
Mm-hmm.
also the from different communities, from local communities. I contacted the captains from those communities and invited them. So I really like community got the chance to bring the team over there. So it resulted basically in having like kind of high quality event because we had like the best teams from the communities, and yeah, maybe we missed some of the best Team Poland players over there, but statistically, percentage wise, I think like the good players the percentage was really high over there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's basically how it looked over this year. Uh, so we had three events of 8v8, one 8-man, two 6 white. one 8 teams, 2 times for 6 teams each, and the last one was 10 5-man teams on board.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically how the Pyro Cup looked like this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I already started gathering the Pyro Cup captains council. So if anyone with the captains is listening to this and is not on our Discord, Pyro Cup Discord, please just contact me. I will add you if you're interested, and then I'll there will be a channels that where I will announce events over the next year, and basically I need to, because like interest is high, so I will set some rules about the team rotation, so everyone will get a chance to be invited to at least like one Pyra during next season. Uh, I don't know how to do that yet, but I'll do my best. Basically,
Yeah.
we have already scheduled like Pyro Cup from February and July, and I will for sure add at least 3 other events next year.
Mm-hmm. And what about the Sigma event? Because I think you did one the year before, and I know it's not necessarily the topic of interest on this show, but did you do a Sigma
Uh,
event this year, or did you bypass
uh, Last year I did this in a November time slot, so I exchanged basically because I have been doing also the Polish events before in October, so I made a little change. So I transferred the October event to
it? Mm-hmm.
international one, and the Sigma event from November I transferred to the 5v5 Pyra Home Cup for Polish players. Uh,
Perfect. Okay.
to be honest, I just also today started the asking Age of Sigmar players because we have also like a strong Age of Sigmar community here in Poznań,
Mm-hmm.
uh, how they perceive the option for an all inclusive tournament, and basically I need to also ask them what's the terrain standard for them, because yeah, if I want to do like high quality event, I need to also kind of think about the trains and standardize them on the yeah, the tournament level, so I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
borrow from terrains from 5 communities around. Um,
Yep.
yeah, so
Definitely.
this would probably be the 6th event next year. So
Mm-hmm.
AOS teams, because yeah, in Poland we are missing AOS team events as well, but it depends basically on interest.
Right, understood. Okay, so what about this one last Pyra? And I really want to compare it to the one in October, which will be difficult because it's 8-man teams and 5-man teams. But do you think that we can see any correlations and thing that's samey in terms of meta?
Uh,
So like the top factions, stuff like that. Because I
uh,
think that the gamblers team that won the event this weekend, they took some off-meta choices, ones that might not
yeah,
necessarily be the most popular, right?
yeah. They took basically everything that counters the current meta. So yeah. Uh, to be honest, 5v5 is kind of different than 8v8, because on 8v8 you tend to basically do the armies like hard counters for something. They're much more like polarized into something, because you are able to actually pair them into something. In 5v5 you need to have more all-rounder armies on board,
Hmm.
because you have like two less steps to avoid, like in pairing process on the abstract level. You have two less opportunities to just avoid some bad matchups. So you need to have some more all-rounders around in team composition. Either you go this way, or you do like something that counters the meta. This 5v5 meta game is kind of predictable. Just bring guard guard right now. Yeah, guard 100%, probably um, sisters, probably some kind of space marines, and you have 3 out of 5 already.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, yeah, so it's kind of easy to predict how to counter this, and gamblers actually prepared roster that counters the current meta game, or at least don't have any bad matchups. So as long as you get like 2 good matchups from the pairings, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
have any bad matchups, then you can play and win the tournament.
Yeah,
So
definitely. So they've had unending swarm tyranids, so cargo jail, essentially.
yeah,
You could call it that. Then we've had the Outlander Claw Gene Stealer Cults, Black Templars, although a bit of a different approach. It's not a total Crusader spam. There's only one blob, and then a blob of Terminators with Thunderhammers and the Storm Shields. Then we've got a
classical ones.
yeah. Then we've got Wraith Knight Eldar, which is an interesting return of the Boogeyman from the beginning of 10th. And then we had Chaos Knights with a Desecrator, and then a little dudes to the brim. So that's what? How many? 3, 4, and yeah, 10 little guys, War Dogs.
Yeah. So
This
basically
actually,
here
yeah. Go ahead.
in this team composition, you have like elders, which are built like to counter vehicle heavy lists, because you get right now 2 Raidlers and like elder good stuff. But basically,
Mm-hmm.
this is really good into all kind of vehicles. So basically, the current meta.
Yep.
Uh, Really interesting choice. You have Chaos Knights and Outlander Claw and the Tyrannies, which are kind of all rounders. Tyrannies is the jail style of the list, so basically lock the opponent and then score. Outlander Claw shouldn't lose a game like highly, because you have like thousands of OC on board and resurrect models, so it's really hard to win against it really highly.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can lock the opponent, and same with the knights, um, yeah, which are basically also vehicle skill, and you can pair them for example, you can just put like 100 OC on a single market, and also you want to lose really badly. Also, knights are interesting because you can play to the small lose or even a draw against guard, or a draw and a small win against guard. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's a really good composition that is like really well prepared for the current metagame, to have all the answers possible.
Mm-hmm. Even without bringing guard themselves.
Yeah,
Okay. Then in second place we've had Team V with Gene Stealer Coats, Custodes, Guard, Grey Knights, and Sisters. What would you say about that team comp?
okay. So first of all, this team composition, I think potentially lacks some of the all-rounders. The Grey Knights are, in my opinion, are really good into
Hmm?
8v8. In 5v5, it's like really hard to pair them properly. Because this is like attacker stylist, which sometimes is really like role of dependent, who goes first, who goes second.
Mm-hmm.
Um, The Adeptus Sororitas list is like classic one. The guard is a classic one. GC Cults, the Biosanctic is really good army. Um, so 2 picks that are needs like to be cared about in pairings are Grey Knights and Custodes. Also, Sisters in Bringers of Flame variant are really polarized. So they have really good pairings and really bad pairings because you have like 10 units on board while the opponent got 20. So it's really hard to exchange. So if you have good profiles and can push, it's a really good pairing because you can make out a 20 of it. And if it is a bad pairing, it's basically a bad pairing and you can't do anything. So yeah. So they took lists that are really like need to be like cared about and babysitted on during the paying process. And on 5v5, it's kind of hard to do. Uh, yeah, because Custodes is a defender stylist. You need table to play against the best armies. Otherwise, you will lose. I don't think like Custodes is like well suited for 5v5. For 8v8, it's much better. For 5v5, you have just sisters, which smashes the Custodes. So you need to avoid this pairing, and yeah, it's. I think that there could be like better choices like CSM army, which can be built as an all-rounder army, which is, in my opinion, a better pick for for the 5v5 format. Um, yeah, but if I remember correctly, it was a like small the game against gamblers was like really close. They only lost like they missed
Yeah, it was
3
55,
points.
45. So
Yeah,
yeah, 3 points.
3 points to a draw. So I observed the pairings, and I think they should probably they could basically do it better, in my opinion. Especially like yeah, but the gamblers took a really challenging list, which are really hard to estimate against, and you can't also with a week of preparation. When they have like such a team comp, it's really hard to get a test against those lists. So you don't know what basically to expect. So it's really hard to do, and that's why the 5v5 format. I find it also interesting because you can do such thing and prepare the completely list out of nowhere, um, not expected ones, and counter the meta, basically.
Okay. And then in
Especially on the
third,
tournament, you have 10 teams, and you basically know who will play what.
yeah, that's true. It's not a big community. You know who's coming. You can expect some things, and then you can build some wacky things to counter it. Yeah, it's very, very interesting stuff, and kudos to the guys for always coming up with something wacky. But obviously also piloting it in a very good manner. Right, and in third we've had the crack. I'm gonna call it the Krakow team because Wa of Mr. Jack Swa. Okay, let's call it that.
Mr.
Translating.
Jack Swa, yeah.
Yeah.
So just explain who is Mr. Jack.
Yeah. Mr. Jack is how old is he now? 12?
13. 13.
13. Yeah. So he's the son of one of the older guys from the community from way back when. And yeah, he's Mr. Jack to the guys that don't know him and the guys that do know him. It's just a small running joke that we have.
Yeah, it's but yeah, like half of the community is scared of Mr. Jack. So
Yes, because
and
90% of the people have lost against to him.
yeah,
Obviously, approaching the table thinking, "Ha, easy frag, an 11-year-old of orcs. What could go wrong?" Well, a lot of things.
yeah,
Doesn't do
a
so.
lot of things. Especially that Mr. Jack was playing what like 200 orcs on the table.
Yeah. So
And
anyway, their team composition was obviously orcs, piloted by the one and only Mr. Jack. They've had Blood Angels, Votan, Tau, and Chaos Space Marines. So actually, what I've just noticed across the top three teams, only Genesteer cults have popped up twice. And then all
Oh.
the other factions were sort of unique. Okay, we've had Black Templars and Blood Angels, which are both Space Marines. But yeah, apart from that, that's a very interesting spread that, well, none of the other factions have come up at least
Eh, yeah,
twice.
that I think that's we have like really balanced metagame. Just
I mean,
without
that's a
one
testament to it.
without one faction, maybe. Just discard one faction, which shouldn't be at this power level, and
Yeah, we will get to that.
by accident, it's like my main faction right now. But yeah.
Oh, it's no accident. It's no accident. Everyone knows that it's no accident.
Yeah, everyone also knows that this is my first army from 40k. So
I think not everyone knows that part.
now
I
they
think
do.
everyone knows the part that you're playing something oppressive, sure. But if it was your first army, where's the doubt meme when you need it? So anyway, Tau Votan, Blood Angels, Orcs, and Chaos Space Marines. What do you think?
I think like here they basically took players and their main armies into that without hardly thinking what suits them, like
Mm-hmm.
the
Team
final team
composition there.
composition.
Yeah.
But still, this is like really good things because right now Tau is perceived as a good faction. Chaos Space Marines, like Skark style gunline with obliterates, vindicators under Abaddon is like really good list, especially if you count this first defender. Blood
Mm-hmm.
Angels, like I think they are like overrated a little bit, but that's me. But they're also like good aggressive faction which can push. Voltan, I'm always saying that Voltan is a good stable faction that's worth taking. Worst case, you just spam the board with vehicles and stuff and just score.
Mm-hmm.
And orcs, which are 200 boys on the table. Come on, not every faction can kill it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
definitely.
and it was like amazing thing that you noticed that all three teams basically got different team compositions, and they obviously fought against each other. And it wasn't like 80-20. It was Team V and Gamblers was yeah, kind of close. Krakow missed some more points, but in the end, it wasn't like a disaster between them. So the level of
Mm-hmm.
team compositions, I think, like was more or less equal, uh, uh, like team combo wise.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, but I'm looking at that team comp and I'm feeling like you have maybe too many armies that actually want to pick the table. Would you agree? I mean, you've got Votan, maybe not as much, but definitely there's CSM, potentially Blood Angels,
Uh,
and Tau also wanting a table pick.
to be honest, you have like Chaos Space Marines, which are needs open table,
Mm-hmm.
and Blood Angels, which needs heavy table. And that's during the event. Basically, I took one heavy, three mediums, one light.
Yep.
Uh, it doesn't mean nothing. It just means nothing because WTC terrains are sometimes light is more heavy than it
Yeah, I
seems.
mean, maybe it's worth mentioning when we're in terms of WTC, when we're talking heavy, light, medium, it doesn't really describe the density of terrain, but much rather the type of terrain used. So what that means is light has 2 big ruins, medium has 4 big ruins, 4 small ruins, and heavy has 6 big ruins and 2 little ruins.
Yeah,
But the layout can be identical, right? So you can have a light,
yeah,
a medium, and a heavy table that are exactly the same. They just differ in the types of ruins that are used.
yeah. Yeah, and sometimes some of the ruins are just rotated in other
Yeah.
direction. For example,
Mm,
heavy might actually become less dense than a light table or medium table, and it's true for some of the setups. But
mm-hmm.
basically, When picking up which 5 of the tables from WTC to use, I just made sure that we don't double any table, because some setups have double tables. So it also um, was kind of more challenging, because there was usually one less open table for shooting armies, so you need to like secure the open table for CSM first.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but in the end, you had one, like, let's say, dense table, one open table, and three which are more or less the same in the playstyle on them.
Yeah.
So here, actually, like, it's also kind of challenge for 5v5 format, because it's really hard. Um, yeah, the first role of who picks the table is kind of important. Even more because you don't have like double open table sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, so only
uh,
one gun line will take the desired table,
yeah,
and the other could be in trouble. But yeah, that's something you have to factor in building your team, right?
yeah,
Maybe you should
exactly.
consider a faction that can challenge the gun line on an open table somehow. Don't know how, but still. Or maybe
Yeah,
you can gamble and attack with your gun line into the other gun line.
yeah. Basically, what you need to do is to prepare to play. Every army should be like playable on medium tables. So that's like not open, not dense tables.
Mm,
In 5v5, because it always can, you can't secure that in pairings. So
yep, there's no guarantee.
yeah. One thing worth mentioning, during the autumn season, I like to experiment. So during the previous Pyra Cup, I changed missions, and we played basically UKTC missions on WTC terrain. So it was some of the players realized that we are playing, for example, Terraform with hidden supplies on Hammer and Anvil, and they were uh, kind of surprised. Let's say it like that. But it's
Well, I
like
mean,
it was fun, basically, for me.
yeah, it's good. I mean, at this moment in the year, right, in the calendar, I think you have to do that a little bit. I mean, just get your brain
Yeah.
working a bit more. Not
Yes.
just repeating the same and same 7 missions, right, that you have. I mean, it gets stale across like
Yeah.
what you play. Some people play
And
400-500 games in a year.
yeah,
That's
I just
come on,
right now I can remember by heart some terrain setups, some missions, and stuff around them. So during this
exactly.
Pyra,
That's wrong.
I did on this Pyra I did the other way, the other thing. So I basically switched. I took WTC missions, but switched deployments. So we played
Yeah, this,
Ritual on, and what was that? Scorched Earth on the Search and Destroy, and we
mhm,
played the Lynchpin, and what was the other one? I don't know. I just don't remember. On the Crucible of Battle, basically. Yeah,
mhm.
they one with taking hold with hidden supplies, and it was also kind of interesting to see how the players will deal with
Adapt.
Ritual
Yeah.
being played on different setup. And to be honest, when looking at the tables, for example, Ritual on Search and Destroy is much harder, um, because they it's much less space to put the objectives turn one. It's much easier to block, and
Mhm.
they're usually on the open side of the board. So it's kind of interesting, I think.
Different. It's different, yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah, that's. I mean, I wholeheartedly really agree. Right? There's also no guarantee that the mission pack for the WTC will be exactly the same
I hope not.
uh, for next year's
It's
event. So yeah, now or never to mix things up. Essentially, is what I want to
uh,
say. Okay.
um,
Yeah, Mason, you want to add anything? You want to summarize somehow the
uh,
event?
I think like to all the events. So big thanks to all the players who joined us, and all the partners who supports the Pyro Cup events, because we are growing everywhere every year, and without you, the players, and without our partners, it just wouldn't be possible basically to do these events. So I hope yeah, that we'll make more and more of this. At some point, of course, we'll need to stop because we will oversaturate the year with Pyrocape events. But yeah, well, we'll see.
Yep. All right. We've got one more event we wanted to talk about that happened this weekend, and it's the obvious World Championships of Warhammer, all the way in Atlanta. Meister, I think I'm going to need your help in terms of BCP if we
Yeah.
want to take a look at some lists and actually how the top 16 went down, because looking at placings, something's totally mixed up, because I'm seeing people that were in the top 16 out of the top 16 in the final placings, which is getting me very confused.
Mm,
But the highlight was, whilst you bring that up, because I've obviously not given you any sort of warning that I'll ask you to do that, I'll just keep talking. And I
I,
think the biggest surprise is Custodes winning the event.
they're clearly
Much
nerf.
less, yeah, they
Like
need nerfs,
nerf custodians, they need care. Definitely, for
please.
up invul, it's not possible to play the
Feel no
game with
pain.
for up
Ugh,
invul. No, no.
unplayable.
That's
However, what's probably less surprising is that they faced the guard in the final, and in the top 16, we've had 6 or 7 guard players. Who could have thought that's what's gonna happen?
no one predicted guard happening in the tops. No one.
Absolutely no one. Um,
Uh, I have lists from the like. To be honest, I was prepared. So,
oh, you were prepared. Nice one.
yes.
Right. Well, let's have a look. Oh, okay. We've got Caroline in the comments telling us about what happened with the placing. So I'm going to put that on the screen. Thank you very much. That's very helpful. So only top 4 would be set in stone. And then the rest were modified to follow the player pack. So well, we can check at a later stage, but I'm assuming game points and number of wins might have took a precedence over what actually happened in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think
Interesting.
um, hmm. let's make a call
It's,
for the top 16 from BCP, and that would be easier.
yeah, definitely. Let's do that. And yeah, there's still a lot of guard. So anyway, in first place we've got Mr. Pulse. I have no idea if it's Folger or Folger. I'll go Folger. The
I
Custodes player who's won the event.
I
He's the new Warhammer World Champion of the 2024 season. Congratulations. The most sincerest ones that I can give. Well done, especially winning against a titan of the game that is John Lennon and who was on Imperial Guard. So yes, a very well thought victory. Not sure if we can see. We can see who he's played along the way. Um, yeah, so he's also played Jespers from Team Sweden's Ironstorm, among others. Yeah, he's played Borja from Team Spain. Quite a lot of people actually, so not a totally random run. Well, you don't really get random players at that event, right? But still, kudos, very well done. And maybe you can show us the list, as it's not the
uh,
your standard expected shield host.
yeah, this is something. This is something that's really interesting. Like Let me present share screen. But, this one, let's do this one, and this one. And it should be visible.
Yep, we
Yep.
got it
Okay.
now.
So let's go. Let's go with it. First of all, I really needed to read through the detachment rule because I have never encountered talents of the emperor on the table. Um, so to be honest, I don't know what was the reasoning behind this, but definitely there must be something. Uh, you get basically film pains from the mortal wounds, and yeah, +1 to hit for the anathema psych canal units, so the sisters and stuff around. Basically, you buff custodies with being nearby sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so you have a couple of like stratagems which are basically yeah. Something correlated with the anathema of Psychana. The list looks pretty much standard. So we have like 3 blade champions, custodian guards, like Rhino, 2 tanks, and 3 times wardens, and a bunch of sisters, and Inquisitive Draxus for the probably joining the guard, the custodian guard
Yeah.
squad. Um, so yeah. Uh, Is this list better than the standard shield host? I don't know. Probably the results would be similar, but you have something called like which I like to call the surprise factor with that. So I haven't seen that on the table,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe there's yeah, something good. You have, for example, the reactive move over there from the
Yeah, I
custodies.
think that's the big one.
That's really big one because you can't easily move block the custodies with it. You can, for example, hide the custodies unit behind the ruin and stuff like that, which is really big one.
Mm-hmm.
You can put the +1 to wound, so you basically have some more output, damage output, like so you compensate for not being a shield host. Uh, you have charge shoot after fallback, which is pretty much standard.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just looking for the rules. I think that this are actually the most important things.
Yep. I mean, you also have the small benefit. Oh, you can improve strength and AP in shooting, which is fine for uh shooting with your guard, especially that you
Yeah,
can shoot twice in the face. So it
yes,
becomes quite efficient. The use of that strat, and also in the odd case, you can benefit 2 units, right, with one stratagem.
yeah,
If you have the sisters unit close by, which I think opens up some interesting shenanigans, but very situational.
yeah.
Like
Everything here
getting a
is like
reactive
more.
move on 2 units sounds okay if you
Yes,
can get it
yes.
to pull off. Move
So
one unit to safety, screen with the other. Awesome.
there there's a lot of surprise factor if you haven't played against it. And it also, when playing the 4-day tournaments in the finals, you can just basically fall into a trap if you are not used to play this.
Yeah,
It's
and
got more. I think like in the roll fire, like damage output, the shield host would be better, but in a trick wise, there is something behind this list, behind the talents.
yeah, and this is something that we're saying quite often. Maybe not even here, but generally, the game in such a balanced state really opens up for bringing something that's not usual, and the surprise factor can be a humongous advantage. And this is something that could be at LA here, and was something that was at play when we discussed Pyra a little bit earlier in the show. So always watch out for that. There's still an abundance of detachments and faction
And
combinations in the game.
there will be more.
and there will be more. But yeah, that's what happens. That's what we get
Looking forward to this episode of where
of
we
the
describe the new detachments.
analyzes. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if there's anything worth describing. I mean, I'm willing to bet that at least one will be absolutely nuts, the majority will be absolutely trash, and then maybe one or two will be like, okay, interesting, considerable.
Yeah, I wouldn't call anything trash because before the WCW, I'll just call the talents of the Emperor unplayable. So, as probably
Okay,
majority of players in the world. So, come
fair
on.
point, but I still haven't seen a single looking through my brain for not very good detachments. I had not seen a Brood Brothers list with any success, for example. Right? I hadn't seen one of the Chaos ones. Which ones? Yeah, Dread Talons. I haven't seen do anything,
Mhm.
even though they've got
But
a good strat in there. But well, I digress. Folger played against John Lennon on Astra Militarum. Maybe you want to pull that up. I'm quite curious what Astra lists look over the pond.
so, I really, I'm like really into fluff of the Astra Militarum. This is my favorite army from the beginning of the Warhammer 40k.
Oh my god!
I'm
It
not
just
living.
sounds
I'm not even lying this time.
it sounds less and less believable every time you mention it. I don't know
And
how it
and
happens,
and,
but
and for
unless you bring up really deep lore elements, I think it's just
for the
getting
first
worse
time,
for
I'm
you,
not.
mate.
For for the first time, I'm not even lying. So let's go with the list. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
and
have like
tell us if it's
I think
fluffy.
it's super fluffy. Come on, you get Lord Solar with the command squads and a lot of vehicles. Uh, Okay,
Okay.
but let's go for it. We have Solar, Scion Bomb, of course, the things to support Solar, Tank Commander, a bunch of infantry cameras, and then we have like kind of not standard set of vehicles. Uh,
Mm,
Hellhound and Exterminator, I think that they don't need explanation, but we have Triple Hydra, which haven't happened basically anywhere, and double battle tank, which is more standard, but together with hydras and stuff around it, it's like really a kind of vehicle skew. You
but
have
and how
one
many
tank,
Aquilons?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 vehicles on board. You get 20 Equinox, so it's
Only
pretty much
20.
standard. I think that 30 uh, brings a different list. You'll still have 30 Aquilons from the like reserve strat. You usually need, if you can't reinterest them, you need two of them. Two squads for turn 2, turn 3, and
Mm,
uh, reinforcement for turn 4 or 5. So that's more than enough.
sure.
Yeah. So yeah, and Cyan Bomb, of course, with the Malzagans, Plasma
Mm-hmm.
Guns. What's interesting, what's not usual, are Hydras, which are actually really good. For 85 points, you get platform with a twin linked autocannon, 4 shots, 9 minutes on free, which is anti fly 2 up and 72 inches of range.
And
Uh,
twin linked. I don't know if you've mentioned
yeah,
that.
yeah, twin linked. So basically, what happens, they really benefit from a couple of buffs. So you get a bonus AP from Exterminator and Stratagem, and you get ignore cover from the
Hellhound.
Hellhound. So you could bring potentially AP3 ignore cover on all of those outcomes, and suddenly it's just and against flying targets,
You
it's
reroll hits as well against fly.
uh,
So it's not
or
just
plus
the.
one to hit. I don't remember.
No, it's
Still,
reroll. I've got it opened up, so I'm reading it as we
yeah.
speak. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you've also got
So
lethals going into monsters and vehicles. Yeah, so that's actually, with all those buffs you've mentioned, it's getting really efficient because you're putting in a lot of high AP ignore cover damage 3 shots into
yeah, and
somebody,
this is
and
85 points.
yeah,
So you
it's
could have
almost for free.
two Hydras for the cost of a single Lemon Rust. So what's the problem with this list is that I'm not familiar well with the GW
GW
tables, but
layouts. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but it's usually hard to fit everything in the deployment zone. So you
Yep.
can potentially need to expose some of the Hydras, especially that you have also Chimeras on the front lines, and also the list miss, in my opinion, some of the redundancy because the output of Hydras and Leman Russes really
Mm-hmm.
depends on the having Hellhound and having the Exterminator on board. So that's like not the like faults of the list because you can't bring potentially can't bring the second Exterminator because it's not
Mm-hmm.
worth it. But it's a way to play against this list is to basically destroy Exterminator and Hellhound, and then the all the damage output from the list is basically reduced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're not taking as much punishment later on.
Yeah, I really like the vehicle setup. So you have two battle tanks, one tank commander, exterminator, and Leontus to them. I tried to set up some lists with that things,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see. Maybe I will bring it for the next tournament. Uh, so yeah,
Okay. Okay, right. Well, looking over at the top 16, faction-wise, I'm gonna count the guard list. So we've got one in second place, one in third, then again in sixth, in ninth, then in 16th. Okay, I'm disappointed only that many, but that still makes one,
I think
two, 3, 4, 5 guard lists in the top 16.
many mirrors happened also at some point.
Yeah, I think there were 3 of them at one point in the top. 3 god
Yeah.
mirrors. I mean, very well deserved, but it doesn't help our
Oh,
narrative here.
this mirror is not that bad. I mean, it's a really pairing that which needs to be trained and played a couple of times to be good at it.
Okay,
It's not
fair enough.
it's not like some time ago you had this iron hands or admech mirrors when you basically go first and kill the opponent.
Mm.
Here it doesn't look like that. You usually got want to go second, but going first is not bad because you get you need to basically you have to apply two different tactics, playing first and second, and you need to want to basically do it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's I played the mirror 2 times and analyzed it a couple of times. And it's not a simple matchup. It's not like I shoot you and you shoot me back and we just blow up our tanks and stuff around. No, it's you basically need to use all assets possible to move block the opponent and basically gain elite advantages on
Mm-hmm.
a flank or one flank or another, and you basically need to assess the risk of going full in or full defensive game. It's yeah, it's kind of complicated.
Okay. Well, in terms of factions, other than that, we actually have quite an interesting spread across the top 16, because apart from 5 guard lists, we have the winning custodies, obviously, an Ultramarines Ironstorm list, Grey Knights, AdMech, Chaos Space Marines, Nids, Blood Angels, Necrons, World Eaters, Thousand Sons, and Death Guard. Uh, I think that's quite solid. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to single out any of those lists? Maybe you want to take a look at the Iron Storm.
I'm just
By
looking at it.
Jesper.
Just preparing. So Ironstorm, I will skip the Astromid Heron things.
Yeah, obviously.
I'll take Atmec. It's worth talking
Yeah,
about.
give me
I
the
think.
CSM. What's the CSM? Just a quick glance, at least. What we're
Mhm.
looking at.
And let's do this one, and
Thousand
let's
Suns.
do now. We talked too much about the Thousand Suns. Let's see
No,
the
I
one.
mean, I think, yeah, there's enough that we can still go through. What you
I
have?
can
Yes.
just
Just tell me what's in it. Harriman,
surprisingly Magnus the
Bisca.
Red.
Wow, who would have thought? Two Infernal Masters. Stop scrolling so fast. Double Vortex Beast. Trash, trash. So stuff you actually need, despite calling it trash. And then 1, 2. How many rubric squads? 3.
3 squads. Pretty much standard.
Okay. Yep. I mean, there isn't much you can do in terms of building decent lists.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. Never mind. This one's probably more interesting. Ultramarines not necessarily being the most common choice to go with Ironstorm, but that's what
Yeah.
we have
So
here.
what we have here? Triple ballistas, company heroes with Calgar. Calgar attaches to what? To
Company heroes, I think, only.
only. Interesting. Yeah. You have the robot Gulliman, triple ballistas, triple vindicator,
And
um,
I think there was
assassin.
the Lancer in there as well.
Yeah, there's a Lancer. So Lancer for long range support. It's like good, really good model.
Hmm.
Uh, Ballistus dreadnoughts are fine, especially in Iron Storm support. I don't think like that they're amazing, but they're just fine. And Vindicators, I think it's like this is a good list. You spam to up save vehicles basically.
Yeah.
So that's
Although I'm
if you
surprised not to see any Tech Marines in here. But I guess
you need them.
without auras, they don't do that much anymore.
You don't actually need them, I think.
Okay.
Because Vindicators, what you can bring is basically the one that gives you advance and shoot and advanced fallback and shoot,
Hmm.
which is still worth it. But you don't need to do that because you have actually a counter to in close combat, and you have
Hmm.
all of your vehicles can shoot into combat. So you basically do some damage and then charge with Gulliman into something. So it's probably
Uh,
fine.
okay. Well, I still think uh, Master of the Machine War. What does that do?
And the one was with giving lethals, and the second one was giving the advance and shoot tower. Yeah, the pick one to advance and shoot.
Yeah, but
The master, yep, here.
exactly. I'm looking it up. I have to know.
This this was
Yeah,
the
that's the one you
one,
mentioned. That's the advanced fallback
yeah.
and the shoot.
And you don't need the tech marine for that.
No,
And
no, no.
you always you have like always just a couple of shots, so you don't need
Hmm.
plus one to hit, to be honest,
No, no,
in
no.
such list.
I guess not. And you've got
Because
rerolls as well, right? So lots
you
of
get
rerolls.
you get
You get re
rerolls, you get ults, you get everything you
Yeah,
need. Basically.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the only one you really need and can get actual value out of. Yeah, so very interesting list. Good interesting to see. Let's move on to the next one. What's in the
Uh,
AdMech?
Atmec, so Skitaric Hunter cohort, double techno-archaeologist, which is fine pick for Skitar Marshal with shoot and scoot. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
Rangers, Vanguard, transport for one of those. Then you have double onager, some birds. How many? It's 10, 10, 5, 10. So
Mm-hmm.
35. Uh, 2 times 5 infiltrators and 3 times anti tank bolts,
Boats. Okay.
which are actually really good. With 2 up
Mm-hmm.
save and the shooting they offer, they're amazing. So basically, you have 5 anti tank pieces. So 1, 2, 3, and 2 onagers, and you have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of birds to cover the board and to move block
Yep.
the opponent.
Bird
So
control.
basically, move block and then
Shoot
shoot
from afar.
inside and try to be secure at the range, and then repeat this turn 2, turn 3, and so on and so on. What I'm missing in the list is probably Belisarius Call.
Mm-hmm.
Like playing Outback at ITT, it's I think it's a must-have model. Every kind of the list. I'll probably drop a Vanguard squad and the technologist something to fit Belisarius Call.
Yeah, I did seeing Skitari cohort. I did expect to see Rust Stalkers, but they're nowhere to be found here.
Yeah, I think they're fine. They're really good into some profiles. I'm not sure if they're needed in the. I'm not sure if they're really needed in this terrain format.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there is for sure a list where you just put 3 times 10 Rust Stalkers, and basically you can 20-0 many other lists if you hit them
Mm-hmm.
in pairings. But this is like really like a list that's suited against one type of the opponent,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, basically Outmec is in a really good spot. It's a really underrated army, in my opinion. This Guitar Hunter cohort maybe lacks some output than compared to some other builds, but
Mm-hmm.
here we have like clearly targeted builds to counter vehicle heavy lists, and then to move block and deal with something else. Because you steal from Dune Crawlers and Dune Rider, and also from Disintegrators, you have a lot of small shots from the heavy stabbers. This also adds up for any infantry. I think that this list might have problems with elite infantry, killing elite infantry, like Terminators and things like that.
Okay. All right. What else have we got that we wanted to talk
CSM
about?
list.
Oh, it's the Chaos Cult. Okay.
Yeah, Cypher.
Oh,
Two
just
times Dark Communion. So probably the accursed cultists. Two? Oh no, actually no. Or maybe yeah,
yep.
three
Three
times
blobs
accursed skull.
and lots
Lots of
of
cultists.
cultists and traitor guardsmen. So very much board control list that just
And
got
some support from the demons,
yeah.
because why not?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is something that potentially is controversial.
Could be, but hard
But yeah.
for me to comment on that. I've never really considered playing Chaos Cult because my back will kill me,
Oh,
and
what?
so will the clock.
Uh, yeah, you know my attitude to horde lists, so when I see one, I want to play it. What's Yeah, I need to double check this list basically later on. But yeah, you have a lot of
A lot
stuff
of bodies.
stuff on tables. You have
Mm-hmm.
really good pressure with accursed cultists, and then yeah. What you lack is some shooting, basically.
Well, sort of, but
Yes.
yeah, I mean, you're not really trying to kill the opponent with this one. You're just getting all of the points from
Yeah.
them and hoping to survive long enough. And what's the last one that we've got? I think you've opened up World Eaters out of curiosity. Yeah, so it's still Angron, it's still Avocado. You've got Zerks in here,
Okay, it's
Lightbound. That's pretty much
couldn't be
standard.
more standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted
Okay.
to double check it. Yeah, and this is Thousand Suns you wanted to see. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so to summarize, I mean, it's definitely interesting to see Custodes win, but obviously the guard dominance has shown itself throughout the event, with 6 lists making the top 16 cutoff, or maybe even 7. 5 of them actually finishing in the top 16 because of player pack rules. So yeah, it is what it is. We're on the brink of some new changes from G-Dubs. We were promised something November, December. We've got detachments coming up across all of the December for every faction, apparently. So it's going to be very interesting. And then we've got more codex releases coming in early next year with Elda and Guard being the first two, and I am afraid if the state of the game will remain as good with those factions being up next. And Eldar Codex is never a good thing
No.
for the meta
Uh,
game.
Come on.
But let's
Eldar Codex never changed the game.
let's not worry about that too early on. For everyone that's tuned in today, thank you very much for listening. If you like what we do, please like, subscribe, consider becoming a Patreon. A massive thank you to our community of patrons and YouTube members, as well as our sponsors, the Army Painter and Weyland-Yutani. We're wrapping up for today. Thanks for tuning in and listening us ramble on about Pyra and WCW. And with that, we bid you a goodbye.
So yeah.